What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below this video once it is rendered. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior and Arwin. How are you both doing, gentlemen?
Fully refreshed, recharged, and ready to roll.
Excellent. How about you, Arwin? You good?
I think he's getting some food.
Right, okay, perfect timing. He'll come back and ask if we're live.
Yeah.
Are we live? Yes, we are, Arwin, yes. So what have you been up to?
We went to bed last night. I tried to stay up to watch Globebusters last night, but they didn't get to the part of the show that I was most interested in quick enough, so I ended up going to bed. And I missed the second half, which was the contentious point. But when I woke up this morning, because I was up early, there was a correction video which was live when I woke up, which is unusual for Globebusters to be live when I'm getting up. But they were live, and they were correcting the second half of the show, which I didn't even see last night. Well, that's okay. They were correcting it. And it's obviously to do with Red Flag Media's video showing the this thing to do with the alien in the bush. But basically, the Convex documentary has been dropped by Bob and Jaren because of credibility reasons. Which, you know, if that's their position, so be it. But I just want to give a shout out to GeoStreamer, because GeoStreamer messaged me and said that Globebusters and Jaren had dropped their video in support of that Convex documentary because of his friend Slice Barcane, despite it being blatantly obvious and clear in the correction video that it was because of Red Flag Media. And when I asked him, was he aware that that Red Flag Media was specifically named and credited? He said, "Yeah, but it seems a little bit suspicious, don't you think?" So, no way. Are we still? Am I here, Nathan? I think I might have been sniped.
Did he get both of you?
No, I'm still here, I think.
Just Arwin he got.
Yeah, he got Arwen. I did get him, but he obviously was quick.
Bastard.
Well, let me finish my point, and if you want to start a new hangout, or just, if they're loitering, just bring us in on Skype, Nathan, and just leave the hangout for them.
I'll just leave this one running for now. I'll just bring Arwin on Skype.
Yeah, he's having food anyway. But anyway, yeah, Geo thinks that it was something to do with Slice Barcane. And I said, do you not think that even though Red Flag Media was specifically credited with the video that was the cause, do you not think that's more pertinent? And he was like, well, don't you think that it's a bit convenient timing-wise? And I was like, no, Red Flag Media was specifically mentioned as the reason for causation. And for me, it illustrated how ballers are. They see something that is, what's the word, coincidental. And oh, hang on.
Oh, well, he did manage to get both of them. Sniper's too quick this morning. Try that again. No link for a few minutes, I would suggest.
Yeah, at least give me an hour and chance to do a bit of monitoring.
Yeah,
I don't
no
think
worries.
I've got particularly quick internet at the minute, and if I'm not quick on the draw, they can get me quicker than I can get them.
Right. Well, there's no link for a few moments.
Yeah, so I'll start that one again now that Arwen's back. Basically, Globebusters have denounced the video from the Convex documentary on the back of Red Flag Media's video criticizing the credibility of the main guy that was the protagonist in the video. But GeoStreamer thinks that it's something to do with Slice Arcane, despite Red Flag Media being the cause. But it's just typical of a baller to credit causation with something convenient that happens to be coincidental. Even if it's calculated, it's still not the cause of the reason why Bob and Jaren denounced the video. And for Geo to think that is ludicrous, because they were very clear with the reasons for why. Red Flag Media's video with the alien in the bush thing is the cause. Nothing to do with Slice Arcane. So just because it may be timed wise as coincidental doesn't make it true, doesn't make it causation, doesn't mean that that's the reason at all. And to think that it might be is just wishful thinking. It's just a typical response from a baller.
I think it's ridiculous to do. Like, why would you denounce the movie in its entirety based on, well, non-cosmogony related issues at all? It's not like everybody in the Flat Earth movement is completely perfect in every sense.
No, I mean, there's a difference between making a mistake, but to be fair, there were other things. I mean, I noticed that there were two obvious mistakes of fact that did make me question the credibility of the people that were doing it. One was that they said they were in the Straits of Gibraltar when they were actually in the Med. That's
yeah.
And the other one was that they said that the three-story building was shut up, Tilly. Three-story building was 6 meters.
6 meters high.
Yeah, they're two mistakes of fact that are at worst sloppy, at best. You got to think, how accurate are they being with the other stuff if they're getting these basic facts wrong? Now, that was my initial thought, and I didn't have any further views since.
Well, maybe those types of errors are due to, not a nitpicky scientist number cruncher guy overseeing the actual production of the movie itself.
Sure.
Just because they had scientists actually doing experiments and working out those experiments as part of the movie doesn't mean that the one that's actually making the movie themselves are that nitpicky. So
I agree. But there was another point that was more important. That, to be fair to Geo, he told me about it, and it was in reference to the radio wave thing when they were doing the radio wave testing.
Mm-hmm.
They claimed that it was done at a distance of 14 kilometers. Apparently, it turns out it was only 1.4 kilometers. So on that basis, it was criticized as being a lie.
How do you even know?
I don't know. GeoStreamer told me that they found out that instead of being 14 kilometers, it was only 1.4. So at this point, it's conjecture. It's based on third-party evidence. But on the face of it, I don't mind accepting.
I would definitely like to know where they got that. Because, hey,
Sure.
if they can actually measure specific points somewhere and then figure out that it is 1.4, then, yeah, that would be kind of silly. But
ultimately, that is a mistake. That is a significant mistake to fact. That if that is true, then that, again, adds to the credibility issue overall, which would make me start to lean towards denouncing it ultimately. So whether it's factually the case or not, I'm happy to admit that or accept that it probably is the case that it was 1.4 over 14. But again, you got to question, well, whose fault is that? Is it an intentional deceit, or is it a videographer's mistake because he didn't spot the dot on the piece of paper? You don't know. You can't prove the deceit element to it, so you can't really call it a lie.
if it is a mistake, then it should be corrected by them.
Yeah, you can call it a mistake.
Addendum, basically.
You can call it a mistake.
Otherwise, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, you can call it a mistake, and I'm fine with calling it a mistake at least. But I'm not fine with calling it a lie, because there are reasons why it might not be deception. And I'm not supporting them. I'm just saying that if there's clearly more than one person involved in this. This isn't just one bloke on his channel. There are numerous people with lots of equipment that's spent time, money, and effort trying to collate some form of evidence. And even if it was a mistake, you can't call it a lie unless you can prove that there was an intention to deceive, which is the fundamental principle of distinguishing and contrasting from simply a mistake. We all make mistakes. We all get things wrong from time to time. It's probably the case that the guy didn't see the dot on the paper and said 1.4. It said 14 instead of 1.4. But who knows? At the end of the day, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I've not paid too much attention to it. I just know that 1.4 over the 14 was a criticism that is fair, but I'm just not sure you can call it a lie.
No, I agree. I don't think that any of the land-based measurement parts of the entire movie that was really anything that wasn't genuinely an attempt to basically measure the Earth and how it's like. So
I see Sly's in chat. Sly says, if I went on Nathan's Hangout and stated 1,000% disparity, I'd get roasted, but you are cool with it on here. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we don't know the facts for the reason for why it was a fact like that it was wrong. Yeah, sure, it could be a deception, and I'm sure people will look for the evidence to support that it wasn't deceit. But at this point, in this early stage, there's not enough for me to say that was a lie. Sure, it may well turn out to be a lie, and that doesn't mean that I'm supporting them. I'm just saying there are other reasons that could be explained by what we're looking at. It could be the case that somebody didn't see the dot on the paper. That's all it could be. Who knows? No one knows. That's my point.
Weird. By the way, this is really strange, but Google just doesn't show that this show started in the notifications for some reason. It's like the first.
Hopefully, it'll migrate to the other channel in the next couple of days. So I don't think that's frequently been the case on the backup channel, but hopefully that won't be the case when it's streaming on.
I got it belled, so I don't get it why they should absolutely.
I've stopped worrying about it, to be honest, Darwin. Just one of those things. Some people get notifications, some people don't. Sometimes everyone gets them, sometimes no one gets them. It's just one of those things. If I was to stress about it, I'd tear all of my hair out, and you just can't be asked doing that. So I just don't worry about it. But yeah,
I wouldn't tear any more out, Nate.
Yeah, there's enough stress on this show already. But yeah, the stress this morning was because I thought the copyright strike, or not copyright strike, what do they call it? A community guidelines strike had actually lapsed this morning, so it's run out. 3 months lapsed yesterday, actually, on the 1st. So I was expecting to just come in and be able to live stream on the main channel today, but I can't. For some reason, the live streaming facility is still disabled. So if anybody knows why that might be the case, please let me know. But maybe it'll just come on tomorrow. Who knows? I've sent a quick email to YouTube. Hopefully they'll just turn it back on. Who knows? Should we play Whack-A-Mole then? Shall I put this link out?
I'm going to need Arwin to help me on the back door, though, if that's the case. Arwin, are you free to hang out along the back door with me?
Long pause.
Sorry, just have to get my coffee.
Did you hear that, Owen? You okay to watch the back door?
Sorry?
Just watch the back door, basically. The link is now public. Hopefully we'll get some actual participants who want to talk to us about the shape of the Earth. We shall see. If not, it'll be another hangout in 5 minutes. We shall see.
Arwin, did you say you don't know how to do that?
Yeah, technically I do, but I'll just mess it up. I can't really focus on that stuff.
Well, you got a choice now, Nathan. I mean, I don't think I've got a quick enough internet. I think my ping value is a little bit slow.
I've got my fast mouse. Hopefully I'll do a good enough job.
But you'll have to do it with me then. I'll try and doing it, but I can't guarantee how effective I'll be today. Because
I'll say in advance, if you do join, make sure to say hello. If there are people talking, just interrupt them. I won't tell you off for interrupting a conversation. As long as you don't try and change the subject with your interruption, which is a different matter, but just interrupt to let us know that you're a real person and you want to talk. Otherwise, we'll just automatically eject you. But yeah, the link is now public. I'll double check that it's actually... there.
And if we can get Fireball and No-No in pretty quick, we can get you blocked for the rest of the show. That'd be great.
That'd
so
be good.
Fireball, if you could come in, Fireball, that'd be great.
Otherwise, we'll just get back in on Skype or something.
Maybe.
No, if we can get Fireball and No in quick, then we can get them blocked off for the rest of the show. That would be great.
But if you two get kicked from this second hangout, I'll bring you back in on Skype. I mean, I think it's reasonable to get you to come back in to at least try and keep the conversation in the open. You know, as much as it is in the open on a Google Hangout, but you know what I mean. You're kind of separate. It's like you're in separate rings.
Yep.
Throwing stones at each other rather than punches.
Have you had any snow overnight, Nate?
No.
Oh, there come the trolls.
Here we go. Troll infestation. Oh, wow. Got all three of them immediately before I could get him. Unreal. I'll leave this hangout up so people can still join this hangout. Yeah, let's just add Anthony.
Oh, that didn't take long.
Yeah, I know. They're getting quicker.
Is the hangout still going? Can you hear me out there?
Yeah, everyone can hear you.
All right. Yeah, now that I'm on Skype and safe, I wanted to address the rest of the Globebuster situation. Because
Get a bit closer to your microphone, Owen. I can't control your volume on Skype, so
okay,
that's better.
I'll try to. Is this good?
That's perfect.
Okay, I wanted to address the Globebuster situation. I called them at some point during the hangout. I think it's like at the 3-hour mark or something. I started to call them disc shills, and I just love that word, disc shills. Woo! And
By disc
yeah,
shill, you presumably mean people who are staunchly in favour of the azimuthal equidistant projection as a model of the flat Earth. Is that what you mean?
yes, that doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
No, that's not quite so catchy as disc shill, but I wouldn't go around calling
Yeah, exactly.
people shills. It's
So
not-
I said it to catch their attention, and it's not like, oh yeah, oh god, Arwen is now on the shill game, and I'm gonna call everybody shills that doesn't believe in a rectangular looping model. But
right.
in this case, no, because I know you guys are still like onto the disc a bit. But yeah, you will at least actually go into debate about it. And Globebusters, nah, I don't think they really do. They said they would entertain other things, but no, I don't think they will, because I think they're pretty much a one model trick pony, as I called it.
Nah, that's
They
not true. I've got to.
They can do the disc versus the globe, but other than that, they don't seem to be able to do anything else than just that.
I don't know. I haven't watched Globebusters for well over a year, but when I used to watch it, they certainly covered other models. So I don't know if I can agree with that, but if that's your view, fair enough.
Well, I will. I said to them, I challenge them. Like, bring it out. I got serious issues with the disc, and I can lay out the problems and compare them to the rectangular looping model, and I can also help them to get rid of their, well, how do you say, their misunderstandings of what my model is actually about. And so, because I do believe they have a lot of misunderstandings about it. And well, anyway, I started out doing that in response to the part in the video of Convex Earth where they reviewed the mentioning and the videoing of the extra continent in the greater north beyond Siberia. Because when that was mentioned, then they looked, well, Globebusters was looking at the actual the CGI map of their geode Earth, basically. And they were like, oh, yeah, how can that be? It sounds really strange. Oh, yeah, oh, it must be on the other side of the north and then over there. And they were talking, it was just so stupid. I thought it was really, really stupid because to me, it was damn obvious what that means. It was literally beyond the North Pole in between the North Pole and the South Pole on the other side. Because it's looping north to south, as well as east to west. And they found another continent beyond Siberia, towards the north, not across the disk all the way over to the other side on the south, as by the way their map presented it, which I think was purposely done because, yeah, this is total conspiracy theory, by the way, but I think that in general, probably because of the UN, it's not allowed to present the Earth in its flatness in public beyond the disk shape as the UN logo, because of some greater plan. I don't know, but I think maybe that is a part why they presented the model like that, while I really haven't seen in the documentary itself any indication as to why it should be a disc or even speaking out about that. While at the same time, that continent beyond Siberia, in the greater north, as they called it, why, yeah, that contradicts the disc concept so badly. It was hidden in plain sight, literally. And I thought that was extraordinary. And I was really pissed off for Globebusters not basically mentioning anything about that, as I was saying that in chat. So I called them disc shills. And that's basically how that started.
No need. No need at all. But there we go. That's your bag. Do what you like.
Yeah. I'm like that sometimes. And Bob was really mean to you again, by the way.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. I don't watch.
Show.
Yesterday on Discord, they were talking about certain propaganda that's in the media. And they're saying if you really pay attention, you spot it. And I thought, or if you don't watch at all, you pay it no attention, which is miles better.
Yeah, you do have to keep in mind that yesterday was April Fool's Day. So not everything out there may have
Yeah, but
been,
it's only April Fool's is
absolutely,
only till midday though, in your respective country. So midday is when the japes end.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Not
That's
that I know.
maybe I've just been told that by my parents so that we didn't carry on doing practical jokes, but that was my understanding of it.
Probably.
Maybe.
I think it's just the entire day, and I've been seeing videos all day that were quite silly and lovely. I always
But,
like it.
Stephen Chess
I love
covered
creating.
Stefan Molyneux's video and did a response to it. Did a live stream, actually. I think it's his first live stream. But anyway, yeah, check out Stephen Chess's response to Stefan Molyneux. And he basically said, yeah, I get it. You've put it out on April Fool's Day as plausible deniability. But I read between the lines. I'm paraphrasing here, but I read between the lines and see it as like a challenge. So challenge accepted. I'll debate you again. And we'll see if you come up with the same crap arguments you did last time. Like I say, I'm paraphrasing here. He's a lot more polite than I am. But yeah, Stephen Chess has basically laid down the gauntlet again for Stefan Molyneux and said, if you put it out as an April Fool's jape, then either way, I don't care. I'll happily come forward and we'll have the same debate again.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I saw that one.
Yeah, check it out if you've not seen it. Stephen Chess is the channel name, and I think it's his first ever upload on that channel. But yeah, Stefan Molyneux versus Stephen Chess. Yeah, when he did that debate, it wasn't green as such. He'd known about the subject long enough to hold a very good debate. But he, Stephen Chess, this is, would get to a point in the argument where it absolutely got Stefan Molyneux bent over on the ropes, whatever you want to call it, feet to the fire, and there'd be a slight gap. And rather than letting Stefan Molyneux sort of digest the problem, Stephen would carry on rather than just leave it. So hopefully he's watching this, and hopefully he'll take that under his wing. The power of silence sometimes, you know, when you've got a really cracking point, just, you know, button it and let them react to it. But other than that, 99%, fantastic. It was a really good debate. Yeah, check it out. Stephen Chess's channel, Stefan Molyneux versus Stephen Chess.
Wow, the trolls are getting really kind of psycho there in chat. They're actually calling for the wood elf's death. What the hell?
That's you. You're the wood elf.
Too far, guys. Too far. Seriously.
It's just chat. It's
And
just people on the internet.
And Stephen Weddock, I think that's a ridiculous statement saying that Mad Mike does something more for Flat Earth than people on YouTube. Like, what has he done? He made a single board and stuck that on a rocket and then jumped with it. He did nothing, absolutely nothing.
Oh, I don't know. He made the papers over here. He made the papers over there.
Yeah, but what is that? It's just advertisement and a name.
Yeah, advertising Flat Earth.
It's not science.
I don't see anything in negative at all in what Mad Mike did. I've got nothing but admiration for what he did. The guy's an absolute bonkers maniac, but he didn't die, and he got in the press. I mean, jobs are good as far as I'm concerned, Darwin.
Yeah, I guess. But to say that, I don't know. It's not science. It's not theoretical. It's basic advertisement. It's somebody basically paying to do an advertisement thing. I don't know. It's good, of course. I'm not saying like, oh, Mad Michael, he's evil. No, but it's just to compare it to people that actually theorize and do experiments and work out the details of how things actually work. I think that is a lot more important to Flat Earth because that helps everyone to understand it. Just saying, ooh, Flat Earth, that's nothing. That's not gonna help.
I don't know if I agree. But there we go. We'll agree to disagree on this one.
All right.
But personally, I would give Mike praise.
No, I do too.
Yeah, but do you give him praise for staying alive, or do you give him praise for his attempt?
No, for reaching the media with the message of Flat Earth. That's what I'd give him praise for.
Yeah, for the advertisement.
Yeah, thanks for the advert. Exactly. I mean, it was a sponsored advert, but ultimately speaking, it was an advert that was successful and reached a lot of people. So, thanks, Mike. Mm-hmm. Wonderful job. Great job. Thanks for getting it off the ground. That was all that mattered.
Getting it off the ground.
It was a successful launch. He did get it off the ground. He did not die. And he achieved what he wanted to achieve by a few, 218 feet that he didn't get or whatever. I can't remember what figure it was, but he did what he was supposed to do, and that's a success. Didn't quite get it high enough, but who cares?
Yeah, I understand that Mad Mike's going to get ridiculed in the press, slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena. Is it slightly? Supreme. I'm always getting that wrong. But ultimately speaking, there's a lot of people that will be exposed to Flat Earth as a direct result, regardless of whether or not it's being ridiculed. And we are pre-programmed to ridicule it anyway. But most people aren't conscious that this is even a thing. So even if they chuckle at it, I remember Jaron saying many years ago, if you share my videos and say, look at these kooks, or words to that effect, I don't mind. You know, you don't have to share it and say the earth is flat, so long as you get the message across to people, because people will approach it initially with skepticism. And Mad Mike is no different, but if you've never ever heard of it, you don't know what you don't know.
True. And at least he didn't, like, stick a model on there. He just says Flat Earth, so that's cool.
Ruhif asks, what angle of elevation is the sun on your screensaver thing? We don't have a theodolite pointing at it.
The answer is the sun on screen is not a tangible object, Ruhif.
Nah, I can't get it. Ruhif's been degrading. He started out pretty cool, and now he's just...
Ruhif's good, I like Ruhif. Nothing wrong with Ruhif. He says, take a guess. Why? What's the point in guessing?
Yeah, Ruhif, my mom is degrading. She's been dead for 12 years.
There you go, Ruhif. There's your proof of globe. Job's a good one. Off you go, mate. It's on screen now. Feel content. Good fun in Easter's chat yesterday. Oh.
Who, me?
Yeah, well, you were there. Arwen wasn't. You were there for some of it.
Yeah, I wasn't there very long. I can't actually remember what we were chatting about. If anything, what were we chatting about?
Everybody and everything. It was a very long conversation. There was one part that stuck in my mind, which was about some horrific YouTube videos that were getting onto the kids. I forgot what kids tube is called, something like that. But just disgusting, vile videos that. What was the name that they told me to search? Elsagate. If you search Elsagate, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to discuss it on this show. But yeah, I was shocked.
I don't remember that conversation, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you may not have been there at the time, but various different disgusting things that they were showing to children. Yeah, it's just nice to chat in Issa's Discord. Not a big fan of Discord itself, but, you know, while it worked, it was good.
Yeah, if you're wondering why I'm a bit busy at the minute, I'm just wiring up some speakers to screen me telly, so I'm just going to be kind of preoccupied for the next 10 minutes or so. Separating the sound is always a good idea.
Sure it is. Where are we at? We're about half an hour in. I should really do a quick link, shouldn't I? Yeah, we've got about an hour and a half left on this live stream. The public link to join is still open, so you can join if you wish to do so. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the discussion, as I said earlier, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Thanks to all who have done so already. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There's approximately an hour and a half left on this live stream. You pop yourself on mute, please, Sleeping Warrior, because we can hear the sounds of tech stuff going on. No, you can't hear me. Wonderful. I can't mute him on Skype either. He does this a lot. Alex Grant says,
you're now getting pay offers to kick
yeah,
us.
that's what I was just about to highlight. Super chat to keep the elf boy in. If you want to super chat me to keep Arwen in, that's fine. It wouldn't make any difference. But thanks for the support if you offer it.
You could do it. I'll offer myself up. If he actually pays you in super chat, I'll go away.
I don't think I'd like that. That's not very reasonable, is it? Come on.
I'll come back after 5 minutes.
Oh right, I see. No, I don't think that's. Don't be super chatting to get rid of people. It's not going to work. But I'll read out your comment. $5. Get rid of Arwen. Don't want him on there. Yeah, thanks for the super chat. Sod off. Would 10 grand work?
How much to leave forever? Well,
everyone's got their price, Alex.
100 quadrillion euros.
Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of Arwen for £1 million.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I assured my wife that I was lying off while I was on mute. £2 million, he says. Look, Arwen's a good guy. Get off his back, Alex. He's not very nice today.
Thank you. I feel honored. Although, when it's about taking money for something, I think it's much more important to actually look at the source of that money and the consequences that may come with that source than the actual amount. Because who is going to pay you to do something, and what will they demand of you in retrospect, and what will consequences be of having that money? So just taking it a little serious for a moment.
Ruhif's found a new use for his P900. He's filming the ISS transit tomorrow. Excellent. Look forward to seeing that if you're happily enough to show it to us.
Wow.
Arwen is worth
That's
his weight in
interesting.
unicorn urine. Wonderful, Alex. I don't know what the bee is in your bonnet
I
today.
don't know if that's true, because hey, if you know where there's actual unicorn urine, then wow. I don't. That's like an extinct species since the beginning of creation. So
I hope you do get the ISS transit, Ruhif. It's not something I've ever seen. So, as much as I've discussed it, I've never actually seen it with my own eyes. And all I've had is other people's footage, which is greatly appreciated, of course. But you know, it'd be great to see yours if you catch it. Hope the weather clears up. You ever seen the ISS transit, Arwen?
no, I haven't looked at the actual video. I did see it mentioned though. There was talk about it.
I mean, with your naked eye,
did
have
hear
you
that.
actually seen it physically yourself, standing up, looking at it?
Nope, never.
No, me neither.
Never have.
No, I've never been able to. I've tried, but I've just never actually seen it. My niece has seen it, and she was told by the BBC that it was Santa. I kid you not.
Wow.
Yeah, advised by the BBC to take your kids outside, watch the ISS transit, and tell him it's Santa. What they told him to do.
That is hilarious.
It's disgraceful. Take your kids outside and lie to them. I mean, we're looking at on a whole nother level of the type of lie that we're talking about, but on a very base level, that's essentially what they advised people to do. Take your kid outside, lie to them about Santa.
Well, yeah, it is a bit odd that you would actually use a lie that is portrayed onto the entire world by governments to then hop onto that and put on a children's lie on top of it just because it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
why not?
very bizarre.
Exactly. In for a penny,
behavior.
in for a pound.
Hmm?
We have a saying,
Sorry?
in for a penny, in for a pound. In other words, if you're going to invest a penny, you might as well invest a pound in it. So, if you're going to lie a little bit, you might as well lie a lot.
I guess so. Oh, Wolf is whining on about his stupid. Have you actually tried to see the ISS? No. Got better things to do with my life.
That's not very nice. He's just dug out the information from when you could see it, and you're giving him a hard time. That's not very nice, Arwen. What's with everyone today? I'm in a good mood. Thank you, Ruhif. If Arwen won't thank you for digging that data out, I'll thank you. Thank you for putting that in the super chat. Anybody else in Amsterdam? You can get the times from on
No,
screen
I'm not
now.
in Amsterdam anyway, so.
Yeah, but still, it's the thought that
Can I
counts.
just clear a record with something that was just slanderously stated against me? Nathan,
In
you
the-
said
in
that
the
I
chat.
always do that with regard to leaving my microphone open.
Only
So
in
do
Skype.
not.
I should have qualified it by saying while we're in conversation on Skype, not live.
Yeah. I just realised I was really low as well. I did turn it down before I was doing what I was doing, but I didn't turn it down off. It just went down.
Often there'll be a time on Skype, because we spend quite a lot of time chatting on Skype, same with Arwen, and there'll be a period where, you know, Anthony will ask people to mute for various different reasons. Then he'll get a phone call, and the entire conversation will have to sit for 2 or 3 minutes and listen to his phone call because he hasn't muted. And the conversation stops because that's all you can hear. Not that I'm moaning.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Can I give a
quirks
shout
that
out
we
to
all love.
Lindsay as well? Can I give a shout out to Ranty? Last seen 4 days ago.
No, he was on yesterday.
Conversation with me.
You saw him 4 days ago. He was on the show yesterday.
Yeah, I've not seen him for 4 days, so I'm shouting out to Ranty because I've not seen him for 4 days. He rage quitted when I said that you know about the height of the 3-story house. He didn't agree with me on the height of the 3-story house, so he rage quit, and that was on the back of the Mediterranean and straight to Gibraltar Point. So shout out to Ranty. 3-4 days. Yeah, I'm counting the days.
Anthony misses you, Ranty.
I know. I just noticed that you're ignoring me.
Probably just busy. You know, I hadn't prior to yesterday. All I'd got out of him was a link to something, a taboo conspiracy video that he sent me because he was telling me about it, and then I picked up his message and just asked him for a link. But other than that, I'd had no actual back and forth conversation with him for a couple of days. Then he came on the show yesterday and just said, "Oh, I've been really busy working." So it's probably not that he's ignoring you because he's rage quit about some flat Earth issue. He's probably just busy.
I'm calling him a bitch. He might well be working, but on this occasion, I'm calling him a bitch because he never takes like a disagreement of opinion or a difference of opinion like impersonally. He always takes it personal and rage quits. So, shout out to Ranty.
Yeah, Ranty's a good guy. Lots of love for Ranty.
Well, Anthony, to be fair, you do get really annoying.
I get really annoying.
Quick, somebody join. So you don't end up in a big argument amongst the panel.
Fight. Oh, and just to address Alex, Anthony likes to think the worst by default. That isn't true. I was not. If I was thinking the worst, I would have denounced the Convex Earth documentary, and I haven't done that. I've just said that there were mistakes in it that didn't make me question the credibility of how accurate they were with other things. And there are mistakes in that. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to denounce it the way that everybody else seems to be doing at the minute. I just see it as what it is. And there are mistakes in it. Does it mean that it's deception? No. Does it mean it's sloppy? Possibly. But it doesn't mean I'm going to look at the worst case scenario. As per your comment, Anthony likes to think the worst. That's not true. Talking about you, Alex. Grant.
Yeah, you, Alex. He says, "What are we talking about, Anthony?"
Yeah, I'm talking about your comment, Alex. Wake up. The rig says, 80 people watching and no one wants on with these clowns, Nathan Oakley.
We had a couple of people join. They just joined for the fun of removing Anthony and Arwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're there in chat, so you're just too chicken to actually show up in person and have your voice heard.
Here we go.
So that you can be identified.
Start coding in the chat. I love it.
Shout out to all the pussies that seem to join after the show finishes.
All are welcome to join. All will be warmly welcomed. Nobody's been banned.
Paul Voigt. Shout out to Paul Voigt. Did you know there's a Voigt effect, Nathan?
I didn't. A Voigt effect? What's the Voigt effect?
Yeah. It's something to do with magnets and magnetism.
Something about the core of the Earth, by any chance? Is it something to do with the core of the Earth?
No, surprisingly not. It's something to do with magnets, but not the core of the Earth. I don't actually know what it is. I saw the reference to it, and I was like, oh, no way. And it's spelt the same as well. The Voigt effect is something to do with magnets. Perhaps somebody with a better brain than I could explain it, but it looks like it's a repetition of a cycle to do with magnets. I don't exactly know what it is. I just saw that.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's spelled the same as well. I checked whether there was an Oakley effect. Unfortunately, there's not an Oakley effect.
Nah, that one's not patented yet. Takes time.
No. That does mean, though, that there is something capable of being found that you could attribute your name to if you found something new.
Alex says the stream's stuttering badly. That's definitely your end. Zero dropped frames. Sometimes it does stutter and I can see it and it'll show me the whirly whirl on my, what do you call it, live dashboard where it shows the stream running perfectly. But on OBS it does actually show me how many dropped frames there's been, and there's been literally zero.
Oh my god. Nate, on a more important note, there is actually an Urban Dictionary entry for an Oakley effect.
Oh,
do you want to know what the dictionary
Urban
says?
Dictionary? Oh, that's nothing. Urban Dictionary, come on.
Yeah, but do you want to know what it says anyway? It's great.
Maybe. Go on.
Go on. It says, when a dude looks hot with his sunglasses on, but then takes them off, and it's quite the opposite. That's what it says.
I love it. The Oakley effect.
Yeah.
So, guy wearing cool sunglasses and woman walks past and goes, yeah, nice. And he takes them off and they go, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I love it. Oakley effect.
I bet there's definitely not an Arwen effect.
No, it's quite the opposite. People tend to underestimate me at a distance. When they get to know me, they're usually quite impressed after some time. That sounds pretty bad.
There's definitely not an Arwen effect. Is it an Arwen effect?
I'm looking at the void effect, by the way. It's pretty interesting.
The rig says, good from far, far from good. Yeah, I like it. Exactly. A Monet. Good
I
from
can
a
see
distance.
you being an Oakley kind of... Actually, you must have a pair of Oakley sunglasses.
Now I've got Ray-Bans.
Oh, right, okay. Because I could see you being one of those cool chicks or cool dicks in a car.
Cool chicks?
Cool dick in a car in summer.
Do you think you are? This isn't a trans investigation show.
Okay, this is... Yeah, I see. I'd like to explain about what my quick understanding about the void effect. It's pretty interesting.
Go on.
It actually describes how light through a medium, like say, for example, glass or plastic, how it actually changes the angle if there is a magnetic field applied to the material. So magnetics apparently changes
Hello, is that you, Haunted?
the way light transits.
Hold on a second, Darwin.
Through
Hold on.
material.
Is that you, Haunted?
Seriously.
Got a guess. I just want to see if it's the real haunted house or not. Can't hear you if it is, but there's no one to snipe, so you can stay there.
He was awake about 20 minutes ago.
I'll
He
leave
was
him
live,
in.
wasn't
Maybe
he,
it's
just as you were starting?
could just be sorting his mic out. Just try again, Haunted.
You guys can't hear me?
Yay, we hear you. Hooray.
All right.
How you doing? Good
So,
to have you.
Haunted, why are you not in
How
bed?
are you guys? Why am I what?
Not in bed.
In bed, it's like 5 a.m. for you, right?
Sleeps because it's snowing over here in Jersey.
Oh, No's already in to snipe you out.
I've got like 5 inches.
Oh, he's already had him out. Bastard. Can you
I
bring...
can get Haunted back in on
Yeah,
Skype.
bring him back in on Skype.
Right, okay.
Alright, Will, if you can't.
I'm looking for him.
He's under his real name.
So Haunted, you get up there? You can...
Oh, there we go.
There
Got
he
him.
is.
May not have his Skype on.
No one can snipe the Riley. No one can snipe the Riley.
Oh. Hey, you know what? Dude,
What?
you know what? Call me again because I'm going to pick up on my computer.
Okie
Just
doke.
drop the call and rejoin.
Yeah, just drop and rejoin on the same chat. There we go.
You'll have a join call link because you've already had the permission.
Gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
It's gone.
Anyway, to get back
Yeah, the void
before you
effect.
interrupted me,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting because the void effect, it apparently, this guy proved that by magnetizing a medium, the properties of light change in angle effects apparently, and that's really interesting. I had no idea that
But-
magnetism could even have that type of influence.
Did you say once it traverses a medium like plastic? Did you say?
Well, what they're describing here is, that if light travels through an object, like glass or plastic, I presume, like a perfectly transparent medium. It might even be a body of water in it to a certain degree. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. But if there is a magnetic field applied to that material, that the light direction changes. So there, like I don't know how to even say that, like prismifying or
No,
whatever. It
refracted.
changes
The
way
word
the light
is the
exits.
word is refracted. That's the word. Refracted. The light is
I
refracted.
guess. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. I have to look at that. Voight effect. Just a coincidence, I'm sure.
Wikipedia.
Haunted's asking who's making all the noise, the hiss noise. I'm wondering, is it me or is it Haunted himself?
Be you
Or maybe it's
haunted?
the voices in his head.
Sounds in your mind.
Haunted, do you want to speak so we can establish a connection? Because I'm not sure that we have.
Nope, got nothing from Haunted. Maybe drop and rejoin again.
No, check your device settings within Skype. Go into the options within this call. There's a button that gives you the preferences. So I reckon that who's making all that noise, being the hiss noise, is probably himself.
Yeah. There's no hiss here anyway. I think that there's a bit of rustling, but that's just general background noise.
Oh yeah, that was me. Sorry, I'll mute.
Not much Shape of the Earth related stuff. Just sniping.
Nathan, haven't you heard? There is no debate anymore. There's no evidence for their position, but they all still push it anyway.
They keep on. The only thing that they can do, and they have been doing now for almost half a year, is bring out the same garbage concepts of that slant, the apparent horizon actually being a literal curvature and all that crap. And they keep on coming back to do that and just trying to snow us under with peer pressure and ridicule. And that's what they've always been doing. And I guess some of them have given up. Maybe they're just pausing.
I was going to address
trying to catch their breath.
I was going to address John Watson. Firstly, John.
Hey, you guys there?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you. You're a bit loud, right. But yeah, we hear you.
I think it might be Arwen.
What?
Yeah. Well, either way, we can hear you.
Just like static. It's all right though. Whatever. I was going to say I wanted to ask Arwen a question. Why he believes that light travels, and has he looked at the idea that light isn't traveling at all?
Yeah, that's my position.
Travel. It's just a way to. It's like an expression. I know that light is probably just transferring instantly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm trying to come up with a word for it myself.
It's a very good question, though.
Arcing, perhaps.
I think it's more of a condition. It's a conditional. It's a change. Either it's a change in our direct atmosphere, our immediate space, and it's something that exists as it is. Like, let's say light is more of a flashlight or something incandescent, like a light bulb. Incandescence is just basically light that provides heat from a light source. So when we turn on a light, yeah, that's I guess light, but without any lights on, without electricity, if you're out in the middle of a field somewhere and it's dark out, there's still light. Like, light is always around us, but what the hell is it? That's the thing. That's what I can't. I've heard a lot of good explanations and theories, which is why I'm asking. I'm always interested in someone else's theory. I think we don't know enough about light.
Well, definitely. For me, it comes. Oh, sorry, Ray. You wanted to say something?
He's speaking to Quantum Eraser about light, because he's adamant that light does move, and I'm not so sure I agree with him. But when he explains how he knows it moves, it's a really good discussion. So just check with Authentic Intent, or look at Nathan's show from 2 weeks ago.
You mean Quantum Eraser, right?
Well,
are you referring to a show where Authentic Intent was on it?
Yeah, the one from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He talks about the mirrors experiment and the double slit experiment, and basically
Sorry to cut you off. I think that's I don't know about that double slit experiment anymore, you know? I don't really think it holds up to much. It doesn't. Where does it get us is what I'm asking.
Gets.
Well,
No,
Where
it's
does
not
it get
about
us
that.
in
The
terms
double
of-
slit experiment is about how actual observation influences the type of expression that a particle has, or just even calling it a particle comes to doubt. And
Right.
this is where I angling with what light is, and that is that the current view on light is that it's a particle, a photon, and a particle is automatically suggested to basically travel. Same thing goes for electrons, but I think that this is probably a globifying, literalizing concept, and that's actually incorrect. So I think that, well,
It's electrifying.
You know what the problem I have with
I think that
particles
light
are?
is basically is really a wave, and how that wave functions can apparently change if it's observed and all of that. But I think that it's not a particle traveling from one place to the other. I think it's rather like an arc. There's a connection made between all the directions and all the places that it can reach, and then it just instantly manifests in between.
So
I
it's
think
like
more in
matter.
that direction.
So our immediate surroundings could have an on-off kind of feature, like it's the light is on, even though I'm still stuck with like light is always there. But the problem I have with particles is that you can't separate light from itself. In other words, the quantification is the problem. Like once you get into quantifying things, which is what science needs to exist, that's where the problems lie. Because you have to separate one piece of light from another slice of light, like a slice of pie.
That's the typical particle concept. And by the way, the same pretty much goes for chemistry as well. Because chemistry is basically calculations based on literal molecules and all that, and how that responds. But in practice, you never deal with separate molecules reacting with other separate molecules. It's always a mass interacting with another mass. So to conceptualize it, you need to theoretically isolate it and particleize it. But in reality, that's not how it works. It never is. Probably boldly say.
That's the quantum issue I have with quantum physics and quantum theory and all that, because it's really just for the sake of theory in the end. I spoke to a physics teacher about this too, and he was saying like, yeah, well, it's all theory. And I asked him about the wave particle duality concept, and he's like, well, it's both. And I was like, okay, sure.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that it is both. But really, it just seems to
wouldn't we have a defined
as
answer?
Potentially both, but it doesn't. Like, just because a wave will actually wave around and then cause the typical measurable wave effect, doesn't mean that if it collapses, it's no longer a wave. It just means that the trajectory that makes it appear like a wave collapses. Doesn't mean that it's suddenly become a literal particle.
Do you think waves are moving? Do you think waves travel?
Well, no.
I don't think they do either. I think they just bounce up and down like a rock in a pond. We're not really seeing things spread out.
I'd rather think it's like an arc, and you could visualize it as a snare, basically between the beginning and the end point. And a snare, when oscillating or when struck, it will move from one side to the other.
Arc flash?
An arc as in a spark of electricity.
Okay. All right. Yeah, an arc flash.
Yeah.
When-
So
when,
I'd rather visualize it like a snare, and a snare can have wave motions as it is resonating, as it is being struck, and if it's still, then it's a straight line. So in that sense, that's how I would regard it. Really, it's very rough visualization. I think that's probably closer to the contrast of it being a wave and then suddenly being a particle, and because that's
You've been shocked before, right?
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, sucks.
How do you explain how the shock? I tried to do this the other day. It was kind of difficult. How do you explain to people what getting shocked feels like? Like if you were to visualize it.
Before we get into electric shocks too much, I'm going to do a very quick link. So we've got approximately 1 hour left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Massive thanks to all who have done so already. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 1 hour left on this live stream. What do you call getting an electric shock?
Well, it sucks, for starters.
No, we used to
But
call
it
it
has
getting
different-
a pisser. Pisser. Pisser.
What?
What we used to call it. When I was working.
Oh, I was
at-
asking like, how do you explain like how it feels? Like if somebody punched you, you could say it felt like blunt force. You know, like something like a bat or a fist or an arm or an elbow or a knee or somebody
Whenever I've had
headbutting.
an
Like,
electric shock, the feeling is the
Right.
experience has always been the same. So let's say you get you touch something with your fingers. If it's a big enough electric shock, that arm will die temporarily, and immediately you start laughing, even though it's painful. A very painful experience. You start laughing and you can't figure out why. So that was my experience of getting electric shocks. Lots of pain, a dead arm, usually with the finger that you've touched something with, and then laughter.
I've always, you know, how I always likened it to like if you look at a sawtooth waveform, like an oscilloscope. Nathan, you've seen an oscilloscope before, right?
Sure.
Okay, when you see like the wiggly line going back and forth and it's all pointed, that's how it feels. Like that, to me, that's how it feels. Like your body goes into that condition for a second. It can be animated really easily. Like I've seen it in a couple of Japanese movies, like the Hayao Miyazaki movies. Whenever a character smells something that it doesn't like, it goes into this like kind of sawtooth form. I was only asking because it's like when it comes to light, I think we got it all wrong. I think even as scientists,
I agree.
and that the light condition is just it's a big one, but it's easily put aside for the time being. But I don't have that much time. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about the convex situation? The convex, the hollow documentary with lots of
Not
posturing.
hollow. Not hollow.
With lots of what?
Lots of posturing.
Posturing.
Like we were talking about.
What do you mean by posturing?
Basically, I watched it 3 times. The first 2 times I fell asleep because I was kind of tired. And I'm like looking at it. I'm watching it like, when are they going to get to something? They show themselves shooting lasers around. They show these really kind of childlike diagrams with the curved earth in the middle. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of like photography, but it just doesn't really, to me, it just feels like it doesn't really amount to that much. And then they show the balloon footage at the end, where they show themselves launching a balloon, and they show one still picture from it. And it's just like, what the hell are they doing with all this? It seems like they were out doing stuff, but nothing really amounted to anything.
You got a good point there. They should have probably showed a lot more balloon footage of how it was like. That was kind of odd. It does seem like there was a lot left out for some reason.
I just felt like I'm like, wait a minute, I'm listening to this. And, you know, it was a little bit difficult at first to listen, to hear, you know, someone else dictate what was being said. And then put it into some kind of logic, and like, I don't know what they figured out.
Well,
I couldn't.
You know what? I think I have a theory about the balloon footage and why they left this out. They seem to, in their entire project, wanted to leave in the outer space concept in their entire model, and I think that if they left the balloon footage in, they might have been forced to display or address the going away of the stars, and that would have contrasted greatly with the concept of outer space. So maybe that's the reason why they left that out. Because of the final image they basically wanted to put out there.
It was interesting.
Can I make a segue for 1 sec, and then we can come back to the... I want to address this before it goes off the list of comments. What's his name? It's John Watson. John Watson says, he said a few things recently, and he's come under a bit of criticism from flat earthers about his approach to flat earthers. So, John, try not to be so harsh against flat earthers, because people are noticing that you can be a bit awkward at times. That being said, he quotes, and I'm quoting from one of his messages. He says, Bob reckons this show is the pits. And the other comment he says is... There was another comment that was negative with regards to Globebusters, and I can't find it now. I'd just like to say that Bob is an outstanding member of our community. He is a pillar of our community. He is totally unified with everybody. He doesn't do anything that's to try and disseminate us or try and generally split us up. Or he's an outstanding person. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So, but I wanted to address it just so that it didn't get lost in the translation. That was all. So we can go back to it now. Sorry, gents.
Well, thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, I was wondering why Bob was being so. I don't know. He was defending them so much, and it just sounded a little bit premature. But you know, I think that was just I lend that to the guy being excited about it.
No.
You know.
No, that's Bob. He does that.
Yeah. I know. I met Bob.
Person,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I think that Bob has something personal, some personal issue with a certain person that is in every show of the debates. So I don't know. I think it's personal.
Of the debates of this show?
Yep.
Are we talking at cross purposes? Are we now talking about this show or the Concave documentary? Convex.
No, we're talking about this show and Glowbusters, not about the documentary.
Oh, I was talking about the documentary. I was talking about his just his kind of premature defense of it. You know, I was just wondering why he was defending it so hard during Glowbusters. Yeah,
Convex.
No, the Convex
He was
thing.
Sorry,
Concave?
I'm completely lost here.
Without
Bob,
evidence,
during
without
Glowbusters. Yeah, go ahead.
Discredit it. There'd be no reason not to defend it.
Father Jack Hackett says, talk about, is it Belu, the alien? What the hell is he talking about?
Oh yeah, that is.
Did you guys see the retraction?
Yeah, that
Anthony
was
did.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well,
I saw the retraction. Yeah,
it's a good thing they did that. You know,
Why?
it's a good thing they did that as soon as they could, because they
Why?
don't feel like they're a reputable source. And who are these people? You know, Glowbusters came out and said like, hey, you know, these guys are the shit, and they stood for them. And then all of a sudden they see some of those videos that they put out, and it's kind of like, what? Whoops. You know, they didn't do their homework, and they jumped the gun a little bit. And this is them saying that.
I think that's really weird because, hey, even before I actually watched the documentary, I heard that they also dealt with ufology and alien stuff. So what does that matter? Their experiments, they
you
did
gotta
their
watch the
experiments
video.
and they were legit. So why does that matter? It's ridiculous.
It doesn't help them at all. That's for sure. If you
Yeah,
if you see the
whoa.
alien
Oh my
communication video,
God. Who
it's pretty
cares?
bad.
Who
The
cares?
experiments part was the only part I take away from
Hey, Jibby.
Convex Earth. That was
Yeah.
solid. Hi, guys.
Hello, Jibby.
Just in case you get sniped, Jibby. I don't know. Have I got you on Skype? I think I have.
Right. Thank
I'll
you.
just add you back in if you do get sniped.
Yeah, you're bound to get sniped.
I like the model. I like the model. I thought that was cool at the end.
The model, I was telling the model looks like somebody's property in Beverly Hills with their swimming pool dangling over the edge of a cliff. And how do they know there's nothing beyond that? And how do they know that there was water in that new continent beyond that? Because they only showed us one still shot from the balloon, yet on their model, they have water portrayed beyond that new continent, which leads me to believe that they saw water beyond that which means they saw a really good shot of the continent. Otherwise, they're just guessing.
No,
Why can't we see
it's
more
not
of that
entirely
new
that.
continent? Because
They said
huge.
that they had military sources actually sharing information about it. So they
Well,
were
that's not covered.
giving out
They could
some
have said
data.
anything.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean,
that's that
all
covered
of it
then.
was all. It could have been anything they were doing with those tools. They just filmed themselves posturing. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't look like anything was really that conclusive. Like they did anything
Yeah,
that we
that
could
is.
do.
But I don't think that the model is even close to accurate, and I think they know this. Already addressed this at the beginning of the show, because even the way they describe the extra continent in the greater north beyond Siberia, well, where they actually placed that thing in their model was below India, which makes no freaking sense at all. It's completely ridiculous and convoluted. The final model that they use, it conflicts with what they've even been saying. So it doesn't take away that it's really interesting that apparently they had sources telling them that there is a continent somewhere beyond the north. It's really interesting.
Is Father Jack Hackett Lewis? Is that
No,
Lewis?
It's Gertrude Perkins.
No, that's a knobgoblin.
It's not Lewis Hackett.
No.
Nope. It's
Right,
a
not.
knobgoblin troll that spams huge pages of scientism nonsense every show. Anyway, yeah, the whole Convex Earth show, I thought some of the content was really good. I wouldn't take that whole team as a unified group, really. I think it's just a bunch of people of all kinds and all kinds of opinions just brought together, and they did that thing. I don't think that all of them are even friends, really. There probably have been some inner fights between certain groups of people, probably. So to just say, ooh, they are all discredited because this one guy is in there or something, it's just stupid. Come on. Just take what the film was for what it is, what it had, and yeah, and
Right.
make mention of what was ridiculous or wrong about it, and then take it for face value.
In the words of Tiger Dan, chew the meat and spit out the bones.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it had Globers in it, that mathematician Globers that wouldn't let go of the globe. Are you gonna eject the entire thing because they had Globers in there? See, it's just stupid. What does it matter? If a guy wants to believe in aliens and like do a weird scene talking to it at some point in his career, or if they have a globe mathematician that refuses to let go of the globe in there, what does it matter? You know?
Hello, Blue. Good to have you here, Blue. Got Blue the alien with us.
Billy.
Is that Beeloo?
It's really Blue.
Did he sound like that?
Hello, Beeloo. Hello, Beeloo.
Do you know what I love? I love that Beeloo as a UFO or an alien man just so happened to speak the same language. I mean, what's the chances of that?
Hey, Dawn. How you
Well,
doing?
he's an alien, so he has an instant translation device,
Oh, sorry.
of course, built in his genetics.
I just popped on quickly because you were talking about the convex thing. It got uncovered in my Discord or Jem's Discord. Yeah, I don't know if it's Beeloo or his friend, but Beeloo's obviously into aliens quite bad. But his friend has apparently been arrested for charlatanism and ideological falsehood because he was pushing ideas onto women.
Ideological falsehood.
Ideological falsehood? What?
Yeah, I haven't looked into it to
that?
find proper
That's not a crime.
evidence, but I've got screenshots of like news reports.
Can you show us?
Well, they're fake then.
I sent it to Riley on Skype, so he's got them.
Yeah,
okay.
but you've also sent me on Skype that all flat earthers think this show is a joke. So I'm kind
By
of
the way, did they also arrest the aliens?
discredited at this point, if I'm honest.
It's pressing. How do you pronounce it again, Dawn? Beeloo. Beeloo.
Beeloo.
And Beeloo is one of the people in the documentary who was talking to an alien. Is that right?
No, Beeloo didn't make an appearance. But apparently
Beeloo is the alien. Beeloo's the alien. Okay.
Yes, and I think the other guy, I couldn't scroll through Discord and find it, but Riley's got it. I just wanted to, put the idea that apparently this happened. So
Right.
it's kind of, it seems to me like woo-woo people from other countries are trying
Let
to
me get this
spoil
straight. So
the flat earth theory.
because one of the people who was in the documentary has been seen. How long ago was this? Is this recent?
I'm not sure. Apparently, that took 7 years to make this documentary, so it could be in the last 7 years, or it could have been what he was doing before.
Okay.
But
Glovers are so happy about this. They're like,
apparently,
This guy
charlatanism
once
and
talked to
ideological
an alien. The guy once talked to an alien, so he's completely discredited.
No, Owen, I'm not saying the alien stuff. I'm saying he was arrested for charlatanism. Well, I've got a photo of him
Was it
behind bars.
because of the Beeloo thing, or
wait a minute. You can get arrested for charlatanism these days?
Yeah, it's not a law. There's no such thing.
Well,
And
is it
ideological
different?
falsehood. Many
Is that
accusations
goofery?
by women.
Well, I think when Anthony looked it up and gave me a vague idea about it, hi Mark, how you doing? He was basically saying that he didn't understand the translation of the crime. Is that right, Anthony?
Yeah, I don't know what they're. I know he was arrested for something to do with deception or deceit or something like that, but I don't know what the actual crime was.
Well,
I
sounds like fraud. Maybe.
I'm not saying it's definite truth. I'm just saying people are saying
there wasn't any translation of the crime that he was arrested for.
Was there a
charlatanism and ideological falsehood kind of rings true with presenting an alternative reality to vulnerable people.
But the person
was
in
arrested
relation
for
to
it,
this
was he
alien,
charged?
what's his connection with the actual documentary? Because he's just presumably one individual, and there's a whole team
No,
of them.
it has a connection to one of the guys in the documentary posing as one of the researchers. That guy
he's
has
a researcher and a
YouTube
scientist
channel.
who talks to aliens, so it doesn't really make the theory look too good.
One of his videos on his YouTube channel it's him talking to an alien extraterrestrial named Beeloo. When you watch it, it's fucking.
It's just one individual, though, right?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because the voice that the guy has, it's someone goofy.
Now
I thought it was
people
a
are
joke
giving
at
them
first.
Was it Alan
credibility
B?
on measuring the Earth.
Say again, Dawn.
Yeah, they're now giving those people that talk to aliens or pretend to talk to aliens credibility on measuring the Earth.
Well, anybody can measure the Earth. I mean, that's one guy. I mean, I'm not defending them, or I'm hearing this on the fly and just giving you my reaction here and now. And I've literally heard about this half an hour ago. But ultimately speaking, we're talking about one guy on a massive team of people.
Hey Nathan, can I just say something before I have to go? I got to go clean snow off the car.
Yeah, go ahead.
I put up on my channel. This is for everyone to check out. It's a really good debate. We all know who Richard Hoagland is. That guy, he's always on Coast to Coast, and he's a salesperson for NASA, pretty much. He's the guy who believes there are glass structures on the moon that were destroyed by something. I don't know. Anyway, he's always in defense of something NASA-esque. I have I uploaded it to my channel. It's 1996, Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast. It's a guy, James Collier, this author who did a great movie called Was It a Paper Moon? And he's debating on the moon landing hoax with Richard Hoagland. And Hoagland gets totally leveled, totally destroyed. I uploaded it to the Haunted House YouTube channel. Everyone should check it out. And check out the movie Was It a Paper Moon? It's a really good look. I don't think anyone's heard of it. I hadn't heard of it until like a week ago. But it's a really cool look at the size of the LEM, how the astronauts couldn't have possibly fit inside of it. It really doesn't make any sense. And this guy puts together a really cool documentary. It's only like an hour long. But other than that, I got to go freeze my ass off. But thanks for having me on.
That's on your channel?
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Haunted.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Speak
Hey,
later.
bro.
All right, see ya.
Careful in that snow.
Make sure you all subscribe to Haunted House because he's cool.
Good guy. Really good on voices too. It's impressive.
Voices, yeah. And occasionally abstract videos.
Yeah.
I just remember his video on the concave Earth, and he like focused in on a light at the end, and it was, I don't know, it was quite moving, you know, as a piece of videography. Just cool, basically. I'm sure he said at the end that the Earth was a dick, but other than that, you know, the videography was superb.
I understand though that they're going to be going on the back end of Globebusters show next week to give their side to the story. I'm sure that's what Jaron said at the end of the correction video today.
Oh, they're going to go on and talk about their stuff. Well, that's much better. That massively makes me feel better on account of the fact that that's the first thing you should do. Get in touch with them and examine their data and communicate with them. Thank you.
Didn't they already?
No, I mean, with regards to the Beelu thing and the discrediting attempt and all that, they're going to get their side to it, I believe.
So rather than going and actually asking them about their flat Earth proof and experiments, they're going to ask them about this Beelu. Is that right?
Well, Jaron said that they've already invited them and agreed that they would come on, but that was before the correction video. Now the correction video's come out, Jaron's position seems to be that he still wants them to come on because he thinks that the Beelu thing is a joke rather than try to be serious. And he wants to ask them, was it a joke? Was it intended to be a joke that's just not that funny but seems more sinister?
Right.
So,
So in other words, he's going to ask them, was this put out as a genuine video to try and convince people that you're talking to an alien, or is it just a joke?
I think so. I think Jaron's going to ask that question.
Right.
Well,
I hope they get to the information that they've gathered as well. That's much more important. But there we go. If Beelu's top of the list of things because of a credibility reason, I can't really argue with that. It's, you know, it's fair play.
I know,
People
but that's all people will hear is that the credibility of their information or the people who put out that information has been destroyed. Therefore, nobody will look at that information. That's why they go after the character assassinations.
Of course, but they deserve
Right.
a second. They deserve their side to the story.
Of course.
At the minimum.
Yep. Jaron's good like that. He'll get down to it. He doesn't. We all don't want our reputations to look stupid supporting people who seem to be saying the same type of things we're saying, but talking to an alien like, come on, it is a little kind of turd in the punch bowl.
Well, I thought the best criticism was the apparent 1.4 kilometers instead of 14, or the other way around, 14 kilometers instead of 1.4 kilometers. That needs to be addressed.
Yeah, the mistakes do need to be addressed, but it'd be great to actually get some of their data off them and go through it and look at their experiments and things like that. You know, that's what everyone's asking of FE Core, and when they produce their data, if there's an error in it, people will want to check it over and validate the data.
I'm super critical about the geodetic survey, bottom of the building, top of the building, and their locations with that, and what their exact readings were. I don't remember them publishing the exact readings down to like a decimal point or anything, but I would be curious to see those numbers. Because that was the experiment I really wanted to see, the tilty buildings.
Me too. That was a new one on me. And I've said it many times now, but the only person that's come close to covering that was Smokescreen Design, probably 3 years ago now. But he was doing it with flights, not with buildings that are fixed to the ground. And I just thought that was excellent. Yeah, and I would like to see more data on it and how they did it and exact numbers. That would be great. But as you say, it didn't seem to be there.
No, and it was so, like, is there going to be a separate publishing of all this stuff? Because we don't have access to that kind of equipment where we can measure bottoms and tops of buildings, 8, 10, 12 miles apart from each other. And those would be fantastic proofs. We need more of that. And what we saw here, didn't seem
like. Could you
clarify
what was the facts on that? Because you just said 8 to 10, 12 miles away. But I think they measure the buildings at something like 1,000 miles away. Have I got that wrong?
Not with this type of thing.
Yeah, it sounded like they've mixed up meters with kilometers.
Well, it looks like the two buildings were meant to be the other side of a lake because it looked like they had some line of sight to it. But I got told, no, I got it wrong. It was actually the other side of the Earth, and they were doing it on GPS. But I didn't actually know. I never went back to it to find out what they actually did. What was the actual position when they were measuring the buildings? Did they use two buildings on the other side of the Earth, or was it on the other side of a lake?
No. They did it in kilometers, so I want to say it was around like maybe 12 miles apart, these buildings. I think they said 16, 17 kilometers apart, the two buildings. From what I only watched it once. But
was in the chat saying 3,000, so, there's obviously confusion in this regard.
How are they going to hit it with a geodetic measuring tool when it's that far away? They're not even going to be able to see it.
Yeah, that's my point. That's where I got confused. Because it looked like they had a theodolite, and it looked like they were pointing it at the building from the other side. And I'm thinking, hang on, they've just said thousands of kilometers there. That's like halfway around the world, kind of thing. So maybe I got it wrong, or maybe it was just, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it, but it looked to me that they'd got something wrong there.
I thought I heard them say like 17, 18 kilometers apart. That's what I thought I heard the first time. And I was like, okay, that's significant. That should show something. It's not going to be a hell of a lot, but they're going to have to be really, really precise where they are at the top and the bottom of the building. If they're only going that far apart, because then it's only going to be in, feet or whatever. And then you got negligibility and whatever else the argue points are going to be. So I wanted some exact figures and numbers and maybe like a second or third person camera perspective showing where these things were located on, like something, bulletproof, precision, precise layout setup, so we can just present it. Nobody can say anything against it. They'll have to just come after our characters to attack our characters, and something we did in the past to try to erase all of that information.
So we've got about half an hour left on this live stream. Hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. Thanks to all who have shared thus far. Please share if you've not done so already. Sharing obviously increases the live audience, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream. We haven't heard much from you, Mark.
Hi, I'm struggling with a baby today. Well, she's a 3-year-old. She's having tantrums.
Maybe for the best then.
I got to calm down. This very, very much sounds like the story of the Latter-day Saints, where, what was his name? Joseph Smith met Angel Moroni.
Yeah, Joseph Smith.
Yeah, he met Angel Moroni, and he was told to write down the golden tablets or something like that. Bit like this alien hiding behind a tree. We've been saying to all our critics about peer review, reading other people's papers, and yet we've referred to this video as a plus point for us, but we're telling other people that scientific papers are not worth the paper they're written on. I think
Depending
we're
from the
being
source.
very, I don't know, I think we look a bit foolish, I think. Just jumping on this video as a great proof of a flat Earth, when the credibility of the people who made it are now, it's quite suspect, isn't it?
Well, others are bound to come up with the same measurements and stuff we have. We've been doing this for 3 years. They claim to be doing it for 7, and they're coming up with the same numbers we are. No visible curvature, no bendy buildings, none of that.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
coincides with it.
We should have distanced ourselves from it in the first place. It's personal. It's what we do personally to prove it to ourselves, rather than referring to this charlatan, if he is a charlatan.
I know, but when we all did it ourselves, but you try to present that to friends, family, and strangers, and they'll say, "Who are you?" Because they need that accreditation piece of paper, something peer reviewed. They need to hear the trigger words in order to be able to accept the information, because Joe Sixpack apparently doesn't know how to brain a telescope and a camera and curvature math. It has to be somebody official and credited, and that's why
I think it has to be
those of us
personal.
with a title to come forward, and be public. If I had a PhD, I would be public about PhD. I'm a flat Earth PhD. We don't have a lot of those. I mean, I know some doctors and lawyers and teachers in flat Earth, but then they're mostly on the down low. And people don't want Sally the homemaker's experiment, presentation. They want a scientist, a doctor, a lawyer, somebody that they can accept the information from, because they've been taught how to think.
But there's still, but there's still
so we have a lot to maneuver around in this.
Human beings are flawed, and they've also got this cognitive dissonance as well. Hang on, I'm just going to have to mute my mic.
Well, the Globers are very happy about this situation by the looks of the chat.
No, I mean, how long is it going to take for Soundly to debunk the documentary? I heard he already did it as soon as it came out. They're throwing fits. It's death throes of the globe model, the death throes and violent opposition in some areas.
Yeah, we had a death threat on the show earlier, aimed towards Arwen.
Really?
Oh.
Indeed. I don't pay it any attention.
No, most people who are going to publicly announce a death threat or whatever, that would be quite foolish for them to follow through on it with such a trail leading back to them. It's the quiet ones you got to worry about.
Yeah, it's the quiet ones, exactly. The ones that aren't in chat, aren't saying anything. Those are the ones you want to worry about.
Right. Just quietly taking down details, not saying a word so nothing traces back to them. But there are people like that. I've had stalkers 10 plus years ago. Now I'm speaking out against NASA. And drive around my house, ring my phone off the hook, that kind of thing. Just your typical harassment. And I didn't know who they were until they started doing it. So it was like kind of a surprise. They don't really, I'm coming to get you. It's not like bin Laden. They're making a series of videos. Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm coming over there. They just do it.
Wow.
It's not about presentation of what you're going to do. You just do it. If you actually have substance behind you, you don't need a trailer, promotions. No, you just do it.
So, New and Old says, at Nathan Oakley, going to kill everyone on the panel. Okie dokie.
Yeah, hurry up.
Did you ever hear the anecdotal story of the Severn Bridge? The suspension bridge going over the Bristol Channel. And I've heard people say that it's 3 inches wider at the top than it is at the bottom because of the Earth's curvature. Did you ever hear that?
That's a new one on me, I've got to be honest.
Well, is that anecdotal? I don't know of anybody who's actually done that. But it's a bit similar to this, the buildings being a different measurement or the same measurement, depending on flat or curved.
Yeah, that's possibly anecdotal. You might find a wiki reference to it if somebody's managed to slip it in.
Yeah, but also in any building, there is a plus or minus error, even in the highest precision. If it's 3 inches difference at the top than it is at the bottom, that could be just down to just a bit of a sort of an error in the building.
Right. Yeah, and they do have margins of error. 3 inches on such a scale is tiny, of course.
Of error, yeah.
Rock Lover says it's the Humber Bridge, wider at the top.
All right, okay. See, it's anecdotal.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of it when I watched the video.
I really don't like the convex name. We all know people kind of stop at a title or a headline and don't go much further. So I know there's going to be a majority out there that say, oh, convex Earth. Okay, so they disproved flat. All right, I don't need to watch it. I really don't like the name.
You don't like the title?
I don't like convex Earth as a title. No, that's definitely like leaning towards convex, like what everybody assumes. It's the globe. That's my immediate first impression
it's
when I saw the
misleading
title.
to the
I'm
actual
like, it's a globe?
isn't
What?
it? I mean, the punchline of the video is the Earth has got no curvature, but to call it the convex Earth, it's a bit of a contradiction straight away, isn't it?
It's such an unnecessary title to be. It's like it's convex Earth, but dot dot dot. Well, on the water it's flat, and on the land, it's just. But your title is only that one part. If you want, you include the flat in the title too. No, it's almost like a politically correct title. About level Earth, something like that, maybe. It's off-putting. There's good and there's bad to it, I guess, but isn't that like that with all of our stuff? And everybody's stuff? You take the good, you leave the bad.
Yeah.
I'm not a witch hunter. I'm not out to expose them. It's just there's people who like to do that, and let them do their thing. If their measurements are good and they publish all their data and it turns out good, well, it's more to add to the arsenal.
That's exactly what I said.
Completely different group separated from us.
Exactly. That was my attitude. Once you double check the data, make sure it's all valid, then great. It's just more of the same. Pretty much everything that was in there had already been done, and we'd already seen it in one format or another. So it was like a condensed version of all the different experiments that have taken place over the last 2 or 3 years for me, and I've watched them happen as they've happened. I haven't seen any of theirs done, so I don't know any of the data. You've just seen a condensed version in an hour and a half on a documentary, so you don't know really what to make of it initially, which was why I was a little surprised everyone immediately mirrored it. It's like, well, fair enough, on face value it looks good. I suppose that's a good enough reason to mirror it, but not for me.
I've always been skeptical about the controlled opposition, but now I'm not too sure. I think that, it could actually be a deliberate attempt to discredit what we stand for.
Maybe. Or maybe they're just a load of people that have done what they've said. The timeline was the thing that shocked me most. When they said they've been doing it for 7 years, you're like, wow. I mean, I've asked pretty much everyone I've interviewed when and how they found out the Earth was flat. And in terms of the dates, you go back to Math Powerland and there's nothing before that. It seems like Charles, Flat Earth Math, was around about the same time, debating with other people who, according to him, have all vanished. So you're like, right, so these guys were doing this in 2011. Wow, that's a hell of a time to be doing this. Why has no one heard of you?
It's odd though, isn't it? There's something fishy about that.
Oh, yeah, why we haven't heard of them, they haven't heard of us. And how... I mean, the 7 years part, I think the only thing they need 7 years for is maybe star tracking, planet tracking, that kind of thing. Other than that, they could have did this in a year.
Yeah, if it was 7 years ago, it wasn't too much of a stretch of the imagination to realise that if we're on a flat plane, then we're not floating in space. And yet the images they're giving of this sort of geode floating in space, I don't know, it just doesn't add up with me. I don't buy it.
They should have question marks
course
around
it
all the
doesn't,
sides and
but-
not make it a definitive drop off into space, unless they know that definitively.
No,
It'd
but
just be a
there's
blank.
so much inconclusive stuff. Like the entire underside, how did they come to the conclusion that there was like this mountain underneath there without actually even mentioning it or measuring anything about that. They obviously just wanted to present a model with space. And then at some point, that one guy even said that all the heavenly bodies didn't really pan out with their locations.
Yeah.
And he even said they may not actually even be there. And that was pretty ballsy to say that. But I think there was probably among the crew that devised the model, there was a lot of division, and they probably didn't really agree really in the end. And I think
And
they
maybe
just went
people
for
even-
this thing to present out there, and might have even caused a lot of friction that like half of the people in the crew just didn't agree to that. So
I think there is a need for a hybrid model, though, to get those people to at least meet us halfway. And maybe this will be good like that, because a lot of people can't take that giant leap we did. Maybe they need to take a smaller leap, so you make a hybrid model, flat, while still got space going on.
I'm
And then
liking your
maybe they can come
wavelength,
from there.
Jibby. I really like your way of thinking, because what you're saying is echoing exactly how I felt about it, which is to say I apologised for them and said it's like a halfway house. It's like a soft opening into this subject. You can't completely change someone's paradigm in one documentary. So it's a bit Mark Sargent-esque in that regard. It sort of softly lets people into the idea.
Yep.
But when you've got the Flat Earth Society doing exactly the same thing, it's kind of, before seeing the documentary, my reaction was the same as Mark's, which is to say, they've said 7 years in the making. Where the hell have they been? Why haven't we seen them? That just could be a geographical thing in terms of where YouTube puts out their videos. But I certainly see various other South American live streams come up on my live feed, so that doesn't really wash either. But exactly what Mark said, there's a geode floating in space that looks like a toilet bowl. Well, space, just looks like the Flat Earth Society's representation of a, disc world with water spilling over it. Other than the water spilling off it, it's the same image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reeked of controlled opposition before it came out. Now it's come out, it's like, well, let's validate it and see if that's what they've actually done and that's the results they've got. And if they have, then great. Like you say, it just adds fuel to the fire. If not, well, these tests have been done by other people, and there is documentation out there for them that you can validate and you can check, and people could go and repeat if they chose to.
Yes, and by people who are accredited. They have, degrees, and they know how to work a camera and a measurement, make measurements of math, But there are plenty out there that we don't, really need these people, but it's a decent hybrid. Get people halfway there.
Well, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's got everybody talking about it.
there they come the trolls.
We made some good points, maybe. How was that, Anthony?
It's the troll circus.
I just wanted to address something that's going on in chat. It's not a good time to change over.
Did you hear?
Hey, Arif, is that you? Is that you, Arif?
Hey,
Hey, good to have you.
hey, hey, how you been? Good to see you again. You're getting real good at dropping these snipers, man.
Yeah, man. Got my fast mouse.
Yeah, I've been going on Discord, going back and forth in the Lions Den. It's like the game right now is just kind of poking holes in their logic and stuff, and pointing out the falsehoods and stuff. We've been going back and forth about the sidereal versus the solar day, and I keep on pointing out to them that, you know, night and day would flip based on this model, and then they're like, no, it's the sidereal day, and I'm like, well, okay, so the clocks, I guess, are set by the sidereal day. They're like, no, it's based on the solar day, and I'm like, well, if it's based off of a solar day, then you're missing 4 minutes of time each day, which is going to add up. And then they're like, no, it's a sidereal day. And they just keep repeating it like it's a freaking mantra. It's like, after a while, you just have to be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they're going to quote their fix for that problem and just stand by it doggedly. And that's precisely what they do.
Was it Pope Gregory that once stole 11 days off us because things had gone wrong in the measurements of the year?
I think so. But
Yeah.
we have a leap year every 4 years, so, you know, we already make up for the lost time, because
Yeah, that's right. It was the Julian calendar, wasn't it, that lost or gained 11 days? I'm not too sure. And then it was Pope Gregory that cancelled 11 days to get everything back again.
Yeah.
There's also, do we miss a leap year every 200 years, though?
I think we make up for it every 4 years and we're good, I think.
No, there's every 200 years it's dropped. I think 2000 and 2100 will not be a leap year, even though it's divisible by 4.
I'll have to check,
so
but a lot of times just kind of...
So 1900, they dropped it as well then, by that standard. Did you say 200 years?
Yeah, that's right. Every 200 years they drop the leap year.
Oh.
I think that's something it's a long time since I've researched that.
I guess the main thing is just pointing out how, you know, you can't really build any logic on, you know, what their premises are, because at that point, you know, we can't really set clocks, because we need clocks that reflect what's going on with the sun, not the stars, the sun. I mean, what good would a sidereal clock, if that's what they're implying, be anyway, because that would come out at night and most people do their work at day. So, you know, it's obvious that we set our clocks based off of a solar day, which has to be constant. So they're basically saying either the day's length changes or that clocks are smart and can somehow figure out how long or how short the day is, irrespective of what's actually going on with the day. I mean, after a while, it's like they're saying nonsense. And I think there's a bunch of things that could work in either model. I mean, we might not be in a round planet, but maybe we have a round dome over us that's rotating and making the stars and making round-like phenomena. You know, it might just be a slight point of, you know, a mistake. And in the distance, you know, stuff might not be vanishing over a curve, you know, based off of that faulty logic that things are revolving around a dome-like thing. You know, it's just a dome over a flat surface. You know, it's perspective, you know, just minor things, just, you know, asking the other side to be like, hey, just imagine that maybe we might be wrong about a few things.
Well, Rafe, to address that for a moment, you always like to bring up the dome, and I don't blame you, but personally, I'd like some actual physical evidence of a dome.
Without a dome, though, Wouldn't the gases just keep rising up?
Nope, not if space itself was looping and confined within the loop.
I mean, when you're dealing with deceivers, I mean, purposely or deceitful or not, or by accident, just not quite putting out the truth. You just look at not just what they say, but what they're not saying. Most gases have to have a physical barrier to keep them from flying, from going to the area of lowest pressure in a vacuum of, say, a vacuum of space. So what solid barrier is keeping the gases in our world from escaping up into the quote-unquote vacuum of space other than a dome? It's like they're telling you right there without telling you that we need a solid barrier to keep these gases back. That solid barrier would have to be the dome. I mean, there's no other option. And then
Yeah, there is.
There are sky
No, there
jets.
is. There is another option. If the spatial room of this world in itself is confined within a looping system, then there would be no necessity for a physical barrier, because the amount of space in which the gases can spread out would be confined within the loop. I explained this
still, it
pretty
would need to
early
be
on.
enclosed by something. What is enclosing that world then? You're talking about a looping dome? Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about a no-dome system. I'm talking about the surface of this world and everything within it being within a looping space. You could call it perhaps a matrix. It's just a limited amount of space that loops on all sides. And that would confine the amount of space present.
It could be a possibility, but for me, it's much more imaginable. Just a flat dome under a flat world under a dome.
Well, yeah. Well, and I am not completely excluding the concept, but until there's actual physical evidence of this physical dome.
Do you see any kind of an arcing motion or any evidence of any bendy sky? Because from balloons, atmosphere runs flat. The stars move above us like the train tracks. It's
no, not really. And
it's
besides,
like a flat
if you go
ceiling.
up, they're gone. So
it's like
very
a flat
evident.
ceiling perspective, though. We only have a narrow view of our sky where we stand at without the obstructions all around us, and that narrow view of the sky that we have is completely flat. We are not seeing any kind of arcing from our first-person perspective of a narrow piece of the sky that we see. It's flat. I don't see any proof of any bendy sky, bendy water, bendy anything.
Well, it does seem to move all in a globe-like
That's
shape.
just a trick of perception. I mean, think about it. If we need an atmosphere to see starlight, that means as soon as the starlight
I don't
hitting
think
the
it is a
atmosphere,
perspective
pretty much
thing,
hitting it
because
the same spot,
but
flat.
the heavenly bodies, like including the sun, they all move in an arc at a constant speed. That doesn't correlate
So
with
the sun and the
perspective
moon
at
are
all.
leapfrogging over you?
No, it's just moving at a constant speed in an arc.
Where's the arc besides like a left and a right turn? The only arc I see is a left and a right, like a train track. I don't see any.
Yeah,
bendy-
but it doesn't. With the train track, if a train actually moves into the distance or from a distance, then its speed in that distance will be seemingly slower. And the sun doesn't do that. It moves at a constant speed over the arc.
Well, think about a round train track
There's
in the
no
sky.
change in angular speed, in the angled change
You don't.
of this heavenly body. It moves at a constant angular speed.
Right, but I'm not seeing any leapfrog.
But the sun doesn't suddenly go really, really slow as it goes under. No, it just goes under at the same constant speed as it does as it moves higher above you. It doesn't decrease in speed and go down really, really, really slowly. No, just it sets and it goes down pretty fast. That doesn't correlate with perspective at all.
My
correlates
sun
with
seems to
an
move
optical
faster in the
globe
winter.
at the edge of vision, and it just moves with, over that globe.
In the winter time, as soon as the sun begins to rise, it's almost at like the noon level, like in like 2 to 3 hours, where in the summer it seems to be moving much slower from my perspective.
Yeah, but that correlates to the moment, the seasonal. Sorry, not getting out of.
In order to keep that 24-hour rotation, it would appear to move faster on the wider part of the circle than the inner part.
Yeah, that is correct, but that correlates to the type of pathway it's following in the seasons. The matter of fact is that it's on all of those arcs, however they move, the sun in this case, it doesn't change per day in its path during their arc. Their angular speed is constant during a day. It doesn't decrease in the morning, and it doesn't decrease at night as the sun goes under or comes up. It's always at a constant angular speed.
Do you want to
Well,
answer?
I mean, angular speed is incidental to any circle. I mean, that's not an absolute speed measurement. We need to see how many miles per hour the sun is actually going with a raw measurement. I mean, angles widen out in any flat circle. 15 degrees toward the center of the circle is going to cover less distance than 15 degrees in the outer part of the circle, but to cover the same amount for the same 24-hour day, on the outer circle, it would need to travel a little faster. So we need, for the flat Earth model to, I guess, fully or more completely work, we need an absolute speed measurement to see if toward summer, I guess, for the southern hemisphere, if the sun is traveling faster to make up for a greater distance. And, that's
but the problem is now you're starting to literalize it again, your literal speed and literal distance and all of that stuff, and there's no way to really prove it, and all you can really get out of it is the angular relations. And even though the arc is different in the summer as it is during the winter, the angular speed is the same.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live panel for joining and making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!